We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll show you that Czech goal and wrap up this one between Finland and Slovakia.
The whistle. See Molen's like battling hard in front to tie up the Czech forward. And I think we'll probably see a lot of this. All the talk the last couple days, Gord, about getting pucks to the net and getting bodies right around the lip of the crease. It's been a real area of focus on the off day for Canada.
Braden Yager for the faceoff wins another draw for the Canadians. Over 70% in the tournament. That lead pass knocked out at center ice by Wojciech Kuznecki. And across the line for Radis. Shoots, that's blocked and picked up by Yager. Being harassed by Sikora. Yager chips out ahead. Plays onside. No, it's not. A late whistle. Martone takes a whack there from Thomas Galvis.
And that's what Martone didn't budge. And he draws a penalty. That is good discipline from Martone and bad discipline from Sikora. It's exactly what Canada has to do. Turn the other cheek. Take the punch in the face. First off, is this offside? Did he drag it long enough? Not quite. Good call by the linesman. But after the play was blown dead, Martone gently threw a puck towards the net, not on the net. And he gets bumped after the whistle by Sikora. And you watch Martone's hands. They're down. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. That's what you got to do. Draw a power play. Now you got to make them pay.
Canada 3 for 16 on the power play. The Czechs have allowed 3 goals on 19 opposition attempts. They allowed 2 goals on 7 tries against the Swedes on New Year's Eve. And now Ritchie's going to get one, so that power play's over. They're going to call a trip on Cal Ritchie.
Right off the faceoff.
Number 21, minor penalty, tripping.
Sean McFarland makes the call.
Just desperate to get some positive momentum. Lost draw by Catton. And it's the softest of touches onto the foot of Port. I guess it doesn't take much to knock someone over, but not much there.
So now 4-on-4 here. Jiricek shoots. Glove saved by George. He drops it down for Cowan. 4-on-4 is rare. Under IHF rules, they don't do 4-on-4 for coincidental minors, but of course these were staggered by a couple of seconds. And now Cowan winds out, along with Catton. Berkeley Catton swings that rink wide for Bonk, who kicks it back. Now breaking away was Chalet. They find it with a pass. Chalet in alone. Back out of that wide. Early breakaway for the Czechs' most experienced player. First round pick by Seattle in 2023. Now Catton lines in, drops it back to Dickinson, speeds it back in front, Cowan with a chance, and Rabo with the save. And again, they're looking ahead. They've got a player busting out. Radis moves in and shoots. And that's knocked wide. So the Czechs are flying the zone on turnovers.
They got a 4-on-4 active, both defense, been for a 4-on-3.
And now McKenna spins back as Canada's changing. Gavin McKenna drops that back for Yager. Minutes ago in the 4-on-4. Here is Yager with it. Spins back, being watched by Stancil. Flips that back across. And here is Gibson with it. Andrew Gibson, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds to Yager. Hard pass back for Molendyk winding in. Molendyk comes busting in, but it's stripped of the puck by Kuznecki. 30 seconds ago on the Czech penalty, then a brief 4-second power play. That pass missed for Stancil, and icing called as Gibson gets back.
Chances galore at 4-on-4. Sam Dickinson jumps down, Bonk's already in deep, and Chalet, the last guy you want, in alone, and George gets a cuff on this. Yes, he does, just enough to get over the bar. Huge save. Now, nice little play on the rush. Easton Cowan is trying to score, looking for a goal. Look at Oliver Bonk. He is so wide open.
And he knows it.
He's so wide open for a backdoor touch. If you just slip it across, he could not miss.
Now Cowan wins the face-off. Back to Molendyk. Tanner Molendyk shoots. That goes just wide. Cowan steps up. Easton Cowan tries to throw that back in front for Nadeau. That's picked up by Tomas Galvis. Right wide they go for Kuznecki. He moves in on Gibson. Kuznecki gets a step. Now pivots back around. Pibbiger. Trouble on the boards by Nadeau. And Ritchie steps back on. The teams are back to 5 on 5. Molendyk on it. Feeds that back around to Ritchie. For Cowan. And now Cowan skates away from Petter. Up ahead to Ritchie. In comes Cal Ritchie busting in. Ritchie trying to throw it back in front. Rob will knock that away. And now Petter back the other way. A long shooting goes wide. Racing to it is Wojtek Chihas. 17-year-old playing for the Czechs, but it's brought out by Price. Ritchie tries to poke that ahead. And Cal Ritchie feeds that back for Minio. Sawyer Minio. Lead pass for Ritchie. Chips it down to the Czech zone. And Rabo back for it. Shots are 6-2 in favor of the Czechs. They have a goal and a breakaway. Cat tied up, and Chihas brings it back. In comes Chihas, gets a step. He's poke checked there by Bonk. And Chihas gathers it back up. Brings it back around to Feltzman. Got to chip it there and scooped up by Yeko. Pochi moves up for the Czechs and rings that back around. Yeko almost had that picked off by McKenna. Now it's scooped up and moved ahead to Pinelli for to Luca Pinelli. Moves his way in. Pinelli gets straightened up there by Matteo Kochi. Chipped back in by Adam Yeko. Here's Sam Dickinson. Spins back, 12.5 to go here in the opening period. Bond. Gave pass to McKenna. He's tied up. And a move across for Shelley. Moves it and shoots, and George makes the stop on that. McKenna. Back across to Dickinson. Lead pass to Pinelli. Just missed. Trying to find Jagger. Mastolerski drops it up for Shelley with a shot. That's knocked away by George. Third World Junior for Shalley. He's played also in 2 Olympic Gretzky Cups and 2 IHF under-18 tournaments. 7 of them before his 20th birthday. And icing called against Canada.
He would be a voice of calm and reason in the ČECHIA dressing room, given how many times he's been around. Now, these turnovers are going to cost Canada. I know they want to make plays to the middle of the ice, but you cannot keep spitting pucks out into center ice at the red line while trying to activate defensemen and not give up chances going the other way.
Face off one again by Jagger, but the puck not cleared. Sikora puts that wide. Different spelling than the longtime NHLer Peter Sikora. Fairly common name there.
Same number though.
Yeah. Dickinson looks for Martone. Stanzel knocks it down. Martone reaching for it. Backhanded back in by Sikora. Bonk. Back around to Dickinson. Chips that cleanly to Jagger. And Jagger up ahead. It finds Tanner Howe. In comes Howe. Howe. Slides that back at the point. In comes Molendyk. That was stripped away. Molendyk races back and keeps the puck alive for Canada. Molendyk being tied up from behind. Kicks that ahead. Martone trying to flip it back, and it's knocked out by Raditz. That was close to too many in front of the Czech bench. Backhanded back around by Wojtek Port. Gibson steps up. And Luchenko got an awkward big hit there. And Baudouin's going to get a penalty. And Sikora is down. And Cole Baudouin is going to be penalized here after that collision with Czechia's Peter Sikora. And the referee's arm shot up right away.
Knee on knee. Sikora goes down. That was always going to be called. And the referees will get together and figure out if they want it to be a 2 or a 5.
Sikora remains on the ice, and the officials are conferring.
This telecast of the IIHF World Junior Championship is presented by Elite Prospects, the gateway to hockey. Download the app now and track every detail of the World Junior Championships.
Join millions worldwide on hockey's #1 destination. Follow any league, team, or talent. Track all trades and compare the players shaping the game. Elite Prospects, the gateway to hockey. Get the app now.
Introducing Weight Loss by Hims. Personalized prescriptions, including GLP-1 injections and oral medication kits designed to help you lose weight so you can gain confidence and feel healthy. Plus, get guidance on nutrition, movement, sleep, hydration, and answers when you need them, 100% online. With Weight Loss by Hims, you have so much to lose and even more to gain. GLP-1 injections starting at $165 a month. Get started today at hims.com.
The San Jose Sharks select Macklin Celebrini.
You're watching NHL Network.
Very significant moment early in this game. Cole Baudouin in the box for kneeing. The referees are reviewing it to see if it's a 2 or a 5. Now, he goes straight through. His elbow contacts first. He does get his knee into the sort of center part of the thigh. And it's Sikora that's going laterally that makes it less of a head-on-head hit. Now, that collision will always be called. I don't think there's any way that's not a penalty. I don't think it should be a 5. Sikora did leave the ice and went down the tunnel. We've seen these kind of calls go to be 5 in a game plenty of times over the years.
Riku Brander, Sean McFarland talking over. That's McFarland on the left, the American referee. Brander's from Finland.
Some of the key thoughts here. Did Cole Baudouin's left leg track out to the left to get more of Sikora's knee, or did it stay in a straight line? To me, first replays, it looked like it went in a straight line. Sikora was the one dancing laterally to go around him. The knee was not the first point of contact. It was actually the forearm into the chest was the first thing that hit Sikora. And you see Baudouin right there. Can you imagine? Your game is hanging by a thread with the two guys making a decision for you 4 feet away. You're eavesdropping to try to get a sense of what they're thinking. Gauthier sort of bails on the same kind of hit. Baudouin does not. And we just roll this forward for a second. Sikora, the fact that his shoulder hits him first, I don't think it should be a 5. Sikora checking. Is it a penalty? It's a penalty. Penalty. And then he grabs at the leg.
He remains on the Czechia bench.
And I hope he's okay. Certainly. I sort of expect him to be, and they've made their mind up. I think it should be a 2.
Here's Brander with the call.
Canada number 26, 5 minutes game misconduct for knee.
They call it a major and a game misconduct, so Baudouin's night is done. And Canada will be shorthanded for 5 minutes.
So not shocking. I saw it the other way, but we've seen it go this way. And for all the talk about discipline and no penalties, Canada, Dave Cameron doesn't think it's enough of a need to warrant a 5. But think about it. They took a penalty while on the power play after 4 seconds to negate their first power play. Now they've taken a 5-minute major, lost a player, and we've only played 9 minutes. They came into the game most times short in the tournament. They're going to remain there. This is a huge 5-minute sequence, down 1-0, getting shot 10-2 for Canada to try to survive this and stay in the game.
Czechs are 3 for 13 on the power play. Chalet has 2 of their power play goals. Canada 5 for 22 on the penalty kill. They were costly goals. 2 against Latvia in the third period that allowed them to tie the game, and the 3 against the United States that allowed them to put the game away. Jagger will play a major role in this. Face-off control by the Czechs. Galvis down to Holinka. Holinka spins that back to Galvis. And that's moved back down the ice by Jagger.
5 full minutes. He got to use 3 sets of forwards, probably more than just the 4 defensemen, to get through the entire penalty kill.
But in the meantime, Canada's top offensive players
watching,
who don't kill penalties, sit on the bench. Chalet sends that rink wide, finds Raditz, who set up the first goal, feeds that back to Galvis. Galvis in for Chalet. That backdoor pass deflected away by Luchenko. Was a shorthanded goal for Canada this tournament, and Gauthier feeds it down.
There's the Cheryl Pounder. It's on your stick. It's got to go all the way down. She talked about it in the pregame.
Galvis, a returnee from last year. His brother and his father both played in 2 World Juniors for the Czechs. He's carrying on the family tradition. A bouncing puck. Jagger reaching for it. And bonked to the line, but not out. Juracek feeds it back down. Here's Howard. He's got Jagger streaking ahead. In comes Jagger. Short-handed breakaway. Jagger in. Stopped. Rabel made the save there. Back in front. They score. Tanner Howe. Short-handed goal. And the game is tied.
What a sequence. The clear from Howe to Luchenko. Nice, good save by Rabel, but Luchenko doesn't lose his composure. He stays with the play. Actually picks up the rebound, and watch Luchenko's head as soon as he gets it. Where is he? Spots Howe, and Howe doesn't sit on the play either. And Jagger puts it right on a tee, rolling to get underneath it, up and over. What a huge goal for Canada. Short-handed.
The 11th goal of the tournament for Canada by the 11th different player. Tanner Howe, native of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, plays for Calgary in the Western League. There's a big short-handed goal to tie it up. Still 3.5 minutes to go in this Czech 5-minute power play. Chalet wides in. Drops it back from Mastolarski, and the play's offside at the Canadian line. 1-1 the score. 9.5 to go here in the opening period. Jagger to Howe to the back of the net. And it's all even here in Ottawa.
This telecast of the IIHF World Junior Championship is presented by Elite Prospects, the gateway to hockey. Download the app now and track every detail of the World Junior Championships.
Join players, scouts, and coaches on hockey's largest platform, where players showcase their game and recruiters uncover new talents. Elite Prospects, the gateway to hockey. Get the app now.
There's an easier way. From painting and cleaning to repairs and more. Taking care of your home is easy with Thumbtack. Download the Thumbtack app and start caring for your home today.
Connor Bedard!
You're watching NHL Network.
Canada on the board and in the game, courtesy of a short-handed goal from Howe, as it was Jagger sprung, unable to score, but really the ability to stay with the play after the fact, and a nice finish. A lot of times, especially when you're short-handed, you send a guy in for a breakaway, you just watch. You're not chasing the play down. But Tanner Howe gets on his horse in case there's a rebound chance. And now he got a little life back in the building.
Face up outside the Canadian line. Luchenko wins that back. And Gibson fires it right back down. Rabel, who has a low GAA and a high GPA at UMass.
Good combo.
In his second year. We'll move back across to Raditz. Raditz. Gauthier fell. Raditz being harassed by Gauthier. Still on it. Now played around by Chalet. Racing to it is Gibson. The referee got in the way. Mastolarski gave it away, and Gibson sends it down again. Inside 3 to go in this 5-minute Czech power play. How much Galvas slides it all the way back to Holenka. Chalet drops it back to Mastolarski. Chalet plays it back around. Was batted down by Molendyk, and he sends that the length of the ice. Rabel, a great big Czech goaltender, 6'6", an Arizona second-round pick. Galvas slides that back to Sikora, who's back out there on the power play. Beltsman plays it back down. Molendyk reaching for it. Molendyk trying to work that free. A 6-man scrub. Molendyk had that batted down. Played back to Sikora. crowd roasting him. Jiricek feeds it back across, and the hard shot bounces back in front. That shot by Yeko was blocked. Here's Sikora back with it. Sikora feeds that down to Feltzman. Back at the point is Jiricek. Pass in behind Sikora. Picked up by Bark and sent back down the ice. Stancil pivots back, being watched there by Cowan. And Stancil slides it across to Adam Yeko. Also plays in Edmonton in the Western League. Sikora chips that in. Stancil with a big hit. Jiricek plays it across. Yeko centers it. That's hammered wide by Stancil. Rebound on the side of the goal. They score! And it's batted in. Looked like Stancil might have got the last touch. And the Czechs have regained the lead. So Stancil scored twice against Canada last year. Gets credit for this one.
Flies it over the net. Oh, Sam Dickinson trying to play it with his hand. Puts it in his own net. That is tough. He's trying to go down with his glove to be sure of it. And it just bounces, caroms off the inside of the glove and tucks in the short side. That is a tough break for Canada's penalty kill. Been done a really good job to that point. And Stancil regains the lead for Czechia. Still a minute 18 left on the penalty kill.
Off the face-off, brought ahead by Holinka. Jaroslav Holinka. Goes off the stick of Gibson. The puck goes up and out. 1:11 to go in the Czech power play.
This whole experience for Team Canada feels like a test for them mentally, test for them emotionally. And so this game is a microcosm of the tournament so far. They've had some tough moments. 5-minute major, own goal. And there you see Andrew Gibson in his ear. You got to move past it. We need you to play. You have to be good the rest of the night, which is much easier said than done.
The Canadian players spent part of training camp at CFB Petawawa, where the motto is hold fast. It means to dig in, stand your ground, don't deviate from the course, stay with your goal. I was getting a workout here. It's embroidered on the Canadian shirts, and now it's become a necessity here. Brought in by Chalet. Chalet moves in, and now they're going to call interference on Czechia's Wojtek Radec. Initially, Molendyk was worried that was against him, but that'll take the power play off the board with 51 seconds to go.
Team Czechia, number 22, minor penalty interference.
There's Radec trying to get onside. Molendyk holding the line, and with all that's gone on, Radec, this little bump. Molendyk goes down, and I mean, it's a dumb play by Radec as well. No need, you know, the refs will have a keen eye for any infractions on Czechia.
And you know, we see this in the NHL all the time. You knock down a penalty killer,
the onus is on the offensive play on the power play to get out of the way.
Right.
Do anything to not bump that penalty killer.
So in the end, Canada survives that power play down 1. Which it might have taken at the start of the 5-minute.
Perhaps. You don't love the way the one got in, but now you get load up the offensive players the last 6 minutes of this period who've been sitting around for 5-6 minutes.
Canada will get a power play for 1 minute and 10 in a few moments. Jagger works in, rolled off his stick, and got down to Rubble. That's kicked away, held the line by Martone. In for Jagger. Sends it back door. That was kicked away by Fibiger. Here's Price with it. He'd moved up. Now Caden Price. Right up by Jakob Fibiger. In comes Martone after it. And Sikora brings it back the other way. Sikora. That looked close to offside. Crowd hollering about that. That looked close too. As Dvorak brings it in, drops that back to Stancil. Stancil gets credit for the second Czech goal. And now Canada on the power play for 1 minute. And change. Cal Ritchie pivots back. Away comes Ritchie. In across the line, Cal Ritchie. For Bob with a shot. That was a save, and the puck goes back to the point to Cowan. Now Cowan crisscrossing with Cat. Berkeley Cat Back across, a hard shot by Dickinson, deflected wide. Cowan back with it. It's tied up in the corner. Cowan works that free, walks right out. Cowan's going to bang that back across to Ritchie. Ritchie back at the point for Dickinson. Dickinson's pass is broken up by Feltzman. And now slapped down the ice by Zidlichki. 25 seconds to go in this Canadian power play. Away comes Dickinson. Back to Cowan. Lead pass for Ritchie. And Ritchie works it back across to Bonk. Oliver Bonk moves to the bumper spot. Cowan winds in, drops that back to Dickinson. For Cowan, that pass is broken up. And it's sent back down the ice by Holenka. One shot for Canada on that abbreviated power play. Cowan lost the puck to Kochi. And it's banked back down to the Canadian zone. Here's Dickinson on it. To Gavin McKenna, who sat in the box for that penalty. And now Cowan stripping the puck. And it's brought back out by Andre Koss. Dvorak banks that down. Here's George on it. Up to Pinelli. That rink-wide pass almost broke it up and brought back by Jagger. Braden Jagger, the captain, one of 4 returnees down to McKenna. And Gavin McKenna works that free, pivots back in the corner. And again, McKenna slides that back. Gibson found the one-timer. Gibson feeds that towards the goal to Pinelli. And Luca Pinelli chips that back to Gibson, a long shot. Rebel save, rebound, losing the timely goal. That's knocked away by a diving Adam Jiricek. Jagger for Pinelli. Back to Molendyk. Molendyk, a long shot. Rebel, the glove save. And he'll hang on to that. It's been a wild first period already. 2-1 the Czechs lead in Ottawa.
USA Hockey is teaching more than just a game. We're teaching kids about
teamwork, confidence, fitness, fun.
Because every kid deserves a chance to play, love, and excel. Visit USAHockey.com to learn more about the great youth hockey opportunities available for your child. Because dreaming big is one thing, getting the right start is everything.
I'm certain it's level 5.
Are you for imprint certain?
I'm certain it's level 5.
Certainty matters, like the certainty of 4imprint. Your home for high-quality promotional gear, including exclusive items and brands they love. Printed perfectly and guaranteed to arrive on time. To wow your clients, nail your next event, or inspire your team, check out 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
Get 40% off your first 4 months of Crave by scanning the QR code and start streaming hit series, the biggest blockbusters, and all-time favorite movies. Crave, endlessly entertaining. 3:50 to go here in the opening period. Czechs a 2-1 lead on Canada, the final quarterfinal of the day. This is the win or go home portion of the tournament. If you win tonight, you know you'll play for a medal on Sunday. Off the face-off, this is Thibiger. Banks at the center ice, knocked down by Price. Now Pinelli trying to work that free. The crowd booing Sikora every time he touches the puck. Thibiger back across the point. Fires that down to the Canadian zone. George leaves it there for Price. Price banks it up to center ice. That's knocked down by Port. Plays for Lethbridge in the Western League. Sawyer Minio. Up for Berkeley. Catton winding in. Catton jumps in across the line, but it's offside at the Czech blue line.
So the whole rhythm of this first period, disjointed. The idea that Canada wanted to play 5-on-5, that was out the window because there's been so many penalty minutes. And so trying to just get back everyone's legs moving, everyone in natural rotation, will probably be a challenge that won't be met until the start of next period for Canada.
Czechs had 10 of the first 12 shots. Canada's had 6 of the last 7. Galvas feeds that back to Kuzanetsky. Now Galvas bangs that back to center ice. Holenka to Kuzanetsky. Now Chalet on it. Dickinson lost his stick for a moment. Now has it back. Plays that to Cataford. Matthew Cataford. Banks that back. And played back around to Bonk. He pivots back. Dickinson fans on that pass. He's tied up there by Masterlewski. Chance back in front. Shelley shoots. Oh, what a stop by George. Sticks the right pad back after the turnover. And freezes the puck.
Turnover in their own end. Sam Dickinson's had a tough first period. Overskates this puck. It's bumped off it by Masterlewski, and then backdoor. Oh, what a reach. So important for George to get that post covered and stay with it. It wasn't even a one-timer. Had to keep it skate up against the post, extend and not tip over. Just gets a piece of it. Huge save.
Jagger for the defensive zone face-off against Yuri Feltzman. One back to Yeko. Slides it back across to Yuri. Checker shot. George will save. Loose puck in front. That's chopped down the ice by Gibson. And that'll be icing against Canada.
Carter George has been unflappable all tournament long. Played so well, and he understands what's at stake and the nature way this game is going to go, the way his offense for his team is going to go, and how clean he has to be the rest of this game to give Canada a chance to win.
Jagger gets a warning. A stern talking to from linesman Jake Davis of the United States. All these officials are being evaluated for the Milan Olympics in 2026. So this tournament and the upcoming World Championship in Denmark and Sweden will be the final two evaluation criteria. There will be 7 IHF officials, 7 NHL referees.
So everyone's watching the performance of everyone as another icing, as Tanner Howe just couldn't quite grab a piece on another one draw by Jagger. Mentioned 70% of the tournament.
Jagger's been terrific on draws.
Another confusion when the Czechs stack their shooter here. A little confusion for Canada.
Header for the faceoff, plays for Brandon in the Western League. That's one cleanly by Jagger. He was asked for that pronunciation as opposed to Jaeger. Chipped down by Howe, who has that short-handed goal for Canada. We're in the first period, now picked up by Howe. Jumping up is Ritchie to knock that free. Bouncy puck in the slot. Kept alive by Howe. Ritchie back across for Martone. That's broken up. And now Petter comes back the other way. Petter back across the Koff. Molenbeek reverses for Gibson. And harassed there by Koss, and Gibson now skates it out. For Nadeau. That pass almost broken up at center ice. Now chipped in by Molenbeek. Took the high stick there. Molenbeek fans on that centering pass. Now Nadeau with it. Down to Price. Price, long shot, tipped wide by Ritchie. Cal Ritchie back with it. Canada changing D as Ritchie feeds it across the Molenbeek. A shot that's high and wide. Jumping up is Price. Price feeds that back to Molenbeek. For Nadeau. Lots of traffic in front. Nadeau with a shot. And that hit Ritchie in front. That staggered him. And Sibberger brings the puck back out as Ritchie goes back to the Canadian bench, laboring. Icing waved off. Final minute now, the opening period. Here is Price with it. Price up to McKenna. That was close to offside, but it's knocked down. The pass fed ahead for Sikora. In comes Sikora, tees it up. He hammered that wide. And it's back out to center ice. Dvorak with it. Lead pass for Stansel, broken up by Minio. Here comes Cap. In across the line to Pinelli. Shoots, and Rubble makes the save, and there's no rebound.
Oh, wow, look at that gash. Cal Ritchie. Here's the high stick as Molenbeek gets one from Fibiger right across his face. Not called. The wrister from Nadeau. Oh, right in the chin. Cal Ritchie, the high floater. Not quite floater, high wrister. He doesn't even see it. And that's going to require some work before the start of the second period.
Jagger for the face-off against Holinka. And the face-off controlled by Jagger. That shot is blocked, and Holinka trying to bust in as Dickinson races back. Dickinson for Bond. Two London Knight defensemen together is knocked down by Howe. Rink wide pass for Dickinson moving in. Trying to drop that back. It's picked off. That pass was broken up by Jagr. Back come the Czechs. Masterlurski feeds it back in front. They score. It's Chalet. And it's 3-1 Czechia. 2.1 seconds left in the first period.
You can't give Chalet these kind of looks. Dickinson activates, get caught in deep. McKenna doesn't recognize, and that's a nice pass and better finish. It's a 3-on-2 with Gavin McKenna skating back forwards. That's a tough one-timer to get up into the top half of the net. No chance at all for Carter George. But poor execution, decision-making late in the period for Canada gives the best shooter for Czechia a backdoor empty netter.
Chalet plays for Coachella Valley in the American Hockey League. He's a Seattle first-round pick. He's the only first-round pick on the Czech roster. And so the Czechs trying to knock Canada out in the quarterfinals for the second straight year. Take a 3-1 lead in the first period. They led Canada 2-0 last year in Sweden. Our first intermission is coming up. The Czechs scored early, 43 seconds in. Canada's Tanner Howe tied it up on the great assist from Braden Jagr, but back come the Czechs. Stanchel on the power play. The goal that was batted in by Sam Dickinson, and then the backbreaker, 2.1 seconds left. 3-1, the Czechs lead after one period of play. Gordon Miller back with Mike Johnson in a tournament that has seemed like it's been up on two wheels for Canada the entire time. That first period was very much like that.
It was one step forward, two steps behind the entire period. Starting with a obviously difficult start. You're trying to get the crowd into it, and less than a minute in, you're down one. So you're fighting an uphill battle to begin with, but then you're smart. You draw a penalty. That's great news. Oh, but then you take a penalty 4 seconds after the beginning of your power play. That's not so great. Say it tells you to be disciplined. Well, then you go and take a 5-minute meeting major, whether it is or it isn't. It was. But then you're able to score short-handed goal to tie the game. Crowd is buzzing. You're going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. And then, unfortunately, an own goal off a glove gives Czechia the lead, and then really a tough time to give up one late. Couple seconds left in the period, and Dave Cameron would have had some work to do in that intermission to try to get his team back up feeling like they have a chance in this game when so much went wrong in the first.
Canadian players standing at the bench. The teams begin this second period 5-on-5. Long shooting by Holinka goes wide. Chalet off the side of the goal, stopped by George. And away comes Cowan along with the dough. Easton, Cowan winds in. Cowan drops that back for Gibson with a shot. Save made by Rebel. Rebound. Mullenbeck rolled that wide. Now Cowan back with it. It's bumped back out by Adam Jiricek. By the way, I mentioned in the first period that Chalet is the only first-round pick of the Czech lineup. He's the only forward pick in the first round. Jiricek is also a first-round pick to St. Louis. His brother drafted the first round by Columbus, just dumped to Minnesota. Cowan lost the puck to Max Jalerski. Max Jalerski tries to go rink wide for Chalet. He first emerged as a 16-year-old at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup Under-18 Summer Tournament in Red Deer in 2022. He's been a mainstay for the Czechs ever since. Wojtek Radec swings it back in the Canadian zone, picked up by Jagr. Long lead pass, finds Martone for Howe. Skipped off his stick, and now Radec has it back. Now have to tag back up onside. And again, Cole Baudouin, 5-minute major game misconduct for kneeing in the opening period. So Matthew Cataford, who began the game as Canada's 13th forward, will take a regular shift. There's a centering pass by Radec. Bounces back to Martone. Porter Martone back in the Canadian lineup for Howe, who chops that in. Martone Highly touted prospect for the upcoming NHL draft, looking to go in the top 3 at least. Here's Raditz back with it. Works back in for Zakora. That play scrambled at the Canadian line. Captain tries to kick it ahead. Zakora being booed every time he touches the puck after that kneeling penalty. On the receiving end from Baudouin. Pinelli try to snap that rink wide. It's off a stick, high off the glass. Cat bats it ahead for Pinelli. His centering pass off a stick, trying to find McKenna. Now Bonk with a shot that's blocked by Yeko. Catton trying to work that free. Yeko stands on the puck. McKenna as well. And now a penalty coming to Czechia. That'll be ČEHIYA who goes off, and Canada goes to the power play 2 minutes and 17 seconds into the period.
I think he's getting a dive as well. I cannot believe they're going to.
Wow, they're going to
go on embellishment. Oh my word!
15 minor penalty, cross-checking. Canada, number 14, minor penalty embellishment. 5 on 5.
I mean.
Wow.
So we'll be staying at 5 on 5. As little nudge, little shove. He might go down a little easy. See hard. Kind of staring at him there. All I'm saying is you're going to call that. You better be consistent in your embellishment calls the rest of the night.
Right.
Because if that's the standard, there are several instances you could show of guys embellishing.
Remains 5 on 5. Luchenko for the face-off against Dominic Petter. And Luchenko wins that cleanly back to Goche. In comes Iggy with a shot. Side of the goal, chopped at by Luchenko. Picked up by Koss. It's picked up at center ice by Iggy. He's flattened. Now it's brought in. Walking right in is Petter with the backhand. Rolls wide of the goal. Petter back at the point. And Jiricek with a shot that goes wide. Out to center ice. Picked up by Jakub Dvorak. LA Kings pick who plays for Ontario in the American Hockey League. Cataford works that free for Luchenko. Back to Goche. Feeds that back at the point for Aki. And now Aki with it. Long shot goes wide. Picked up by Adam Zidlichki, but he's got the wall sealed by Goche. Jumping up is Aki to keep that alive. Cataford couldn't quite reach it. And Jiricek, a crunch there by Goche. Back the other way comes Zidlichki. Zidlichki tied up by Ritchie.
Holding Ritchie's stick in his hand.
Goche throws it back to center ice. And Fibiger back with it. Ford moves in. Ritchie stepped into him. Carter George plays it back around. Shot 16-11, Czechia. Ritchie. Rink wide to Andrew Gibson. Slides out ahead to Cowan. Cowan drops it back to Ritchie. Ritchie feeds it across to McKenna with a shot. That's blocked by Fibiger. Jakub Fibiger, a Seattle 7th round pick. Up to center ice for Chalet. Rink wide pass. Holinka moves in and shoots. That was blocked by Gibson. Jagger. Lead pass to Cowan. Cowan back pass for McKenna. In comes Gavin McKenna. Throws it back in front. Just missed. As he was trying to find Molendyk, who had jumped up. And Chalet lifts it back to center ice. Ashtalerski moves up with Holinka joining the rush. Ashtalerski. Jan Dickinson, who separates him from the puck. Poked free by Jagger. He falls. And now Stanzel with it. McKenna for Jagger. Lead for Cowan. Cowan tied up. Drops that back needed for Jagger, but that pass is broken up by Stanzel. And back comes Raditz. Wojtek Raditz. Lost the puck, and Howe back with it. Howe. Rink wide to Dickinson at the line. Shoots, and that was blocked by Huzanetsky. High off the glass and back to center ice. Sikora has that knocked down by Bonk. Fed back down to the check zone. And Huzanetsky goes back. That's batted down by Howe. Howe tied up by Huzanetsky. Luchenko feeds it back. Oh, the shot on the feed from Martone. Racing back is Dickinson out of the players bench.
They were playing with 4 guys, and that's why he just jumped late. No accounting for where Yeko was coming from.
And almost a break for the Czechs. As Canada changes, Dickinson buys some time behind the goal. Dickinson to Pinelli. And Luca Pinelli has it roll off his stick, now bats it down in the Czech zone. Lead pass by Dvorak. In the skates of Feltzman. Yeko had that block, it's loose along the boards. And Kochi can't hold a race for it now. Nadeau coming in along with Pinelli. It's picked up by Dvorak. Rushing in is Koss. Shoots. George the save. Rebound cleared up by Minio. A brisk second period. That sort of Minio pass goes off a stick. Up and out of play. 13:56 to go in the second. 3-1 the Czechs lead at the 2025 World Junior Hockey Championship.
Achy joints? Reach for the spray. Muscle soreness? Reach for the spray. With Tidal, next generation pain relief, Tidal Cryotherapy Spray, and the all-new Tidal Heat Therapy Spray reach where it hurts and penetrate deep for rapid relief. The 360-degree spray reaches anywhere, dries fast, and lasts.
It relieves the pain quickly so I can continue doing what I love.
Trusted by athletes and over 1 million satisfied users. Tidal, available online or at your favorite retailer.
Certain this is gonna work?
Nothing to it.
For Imprint certain?
Certainty matters. 4imprint is your home for promo gear to wow clients and inspire your team. Check out 4imprint.com.
4imprint for certain.
Yoo-hoo! You're making everything orange.
We're showing where Consumer Cellular gets great coverage. We use the same towers as Big Wireless, so you get the same coverage.
Wow.
For unlimited talk and text with reliable coverage and your second month free, call Consumer Cellular.
It's tough to jump into a fast-paced physical game. Bo Akey, one shift in the first period, playing early in the second. No, wait, yellow. Guys are hitting each other out there. And after that hit, really good opportunity breaking in for Petzer. Almost able to take it far side after that big hit. Now, you don't want to complain too often, but that feels like he's holding his stick. He's got it in his hand in the corner.
Ritchie works in, long shot goes wide of the goal. And scooped up by Holik. Licker at it. Now, Chalet throws that wide and back down the Canadian zone. And that's icing against the Czechs.
Now, I know the lines have been out of rotation, but we've seen McKenna with Cowan and Ritchie a few different times already in the second period and late in the first, as they're just trying to get them ice time and maybe switch things up and load up a first line, so to speak, to try to create some offense.
The 8th youngest player ever to play for Canada at the World Junior Championship. A gold medalist at the under-18 tournament last spring. Off the face-off, McKenna banks that back to Price. Caden Price pivots in. Slides it back across to Sawyer. Minio a shot. It bounced wide of the goal off a stick. That broke the stick of Mashtalerski. Loose along the boards, and Chalet plays it to the line and out as Price banks that back for Minio. Cowan. Chips on it for McKenna. That's broken up. Brought up by Sikora. Just missed there by Minio. That goes Price for it. Now Ritchie lost the puck on the side of the goal. Chalet had Price in a headlock there. And McKenna brings it back out. Ritchie to McKenna. Back to Cal Ritchie. Across to McKenna. In comes Ritchie. Bouncing puck. Couldn't get a stick loose. Plays it back to Cowan. Cowan. Feeds it back across. Mullenweg, a shot that goes high. In comes Cowan for it. Back down to McKenna. And McKenna trying to work that freight. Now moved ahead. Or Stützle. 12 and a half to go here in the second period. The Czechs lead 3-1. That pass bounces right to Raditz. And Raditz works in. Jagger. Up ahead to Howe. Busting out with Martone. And the defenseman Molenbeek moving in. In comes Tanner Molenbeek. Pivots back across. Martone with a shot that goes off the foot of Huzinetsky and wide. Gibson back across to Molenbeek. Lead pass from Martone, who chips it down. Howe has a quick look as Canada changes. Howe, who has the Canadian goal, moves it on Galvis. Now Martone on the hunt for the puck. Price steps up, keeps that alive. Galvis moves away from Howe, but Howe steps into him. At the line, it bounces by Akey. And across to Price. And Price fires it back down to the Czech zone. Here's Aki back with it. And the 2 shots in the period was that lead pass for Chihas was batted down the Canadian line, but it was done with a high stick, and so play is called.
Not a lot of action going on, and Canada's got to be careful with their sticks. Well, whatever's going on in the corner here, but Minio comes in, and this is a cross-check. He puts it right into the throat of Sikora. Now, you could have called the cross-check an embellishment there if you wanted to, but Canada's got to be mindful of their sticks. There is no margin anymore in this game.
Face off in the Canadian zone. It'll be Luchenko to take it against Petter. Now Bonk with it. Oliver Bonk gains center ice and flips that down to the Czech zone. Kick free by Gauthier. Dickinson lobs that towards the goal. It goes off the foot of Port. Gauthier throws it back in front. And it's picked back up by Koss. Lead pass finds Zidlichki. And Zidlichki works in. Throws it back in front. Miss Petter with that pass. Luchenko pokes it to the line, but not out. Long shot by Fibberger goes wide. Zidlichki centers it. Broken up by Luchenko. He finds Cataford. Matthew Cataford moves it back down to the Czech zone. Canada came in with just 7 goals against, fewest in the tournament. But offense has been the problem for the Canadians. Away comes Chalet. Winding in. Chalet centers it. Knocked away by Molendyk. Here's Petter back with it. Dominic Petter swings that back in deep. Gibson races to it. Andrew Gibson pokes that to Nadeau. Up for Catton. And Ricky Catton drops it back to Pinelli with a shot that's blocked by Holinka. At the line, it's chipped by Gibson back down. Racing back is Molendyk. And icing called against the Czechs.
Feels like not a lot's going on for Canada, and that's a fair assessment halfway through the second period. But the mentality has to be, Canada's just looking for one. Looking for one this period without giving up anymore. But just stay with it, stay patient, sort it out, continue to work to try to find solutions. Just looking for one.
Face-off one back to McKenna. That shot was blocked. And McKenna battles with Holinka. Now a race for it in the corner. Kochi tries to shield him off. Picked off by Ritchie. Back to Minio, a shot that goes off a foot. Knocked down by Holinka. And Ritchie got a stick on that. Back is Aki to pick it up. Aki, lead pass to Cowan. And moved back in by Chalet. 9.5 to go here in the second period. Minio, lead pass to McKenna. That's knocked down. And Cowan lost the puck to Raditz. Now coming back is Minio to help out. Up ahead to McKenna. McKenna slides out into Aki, joining the rush for Canada. Bo Aki drops it back to Cowan. Cowan trying to flip that back across. Raditz blocked it. And it's played back to center ice. Dickinson up for Cowan. To Dickinson. In comes Sam Dickinson. Winds in, throws it for Jagger, a shot. And Jagger turned away. Jagger plays it back. Dickinson, a shot. That was blocked in front by Dvorak, and the pass played ahead to Peter Sikora. In comes Sikora, lobs that down on George. He drops it down for Jagger. Across to Dickinson. Lead pass for Howe, missed. It goes right down on goal. And Rabo leaves it there. Jagger for Dickinson. Up for Bonk. He finds Jagger. To Bonk, drops that back to Dickinson. And feed it back across. It's broken up by Feltzman and sent back down the ice. And the crowd getting restless here in the second period. Wojtek Port goes back. Around to Fibberger. Feltzman has it knocked down by Minio. Howe throws that rink wide, but Martone's got to tag back up and now goes off on a change. Move back in by Chihas. That's knocked down. And Price looks ahead, but it goes off the stick of Nadeau. Up and out of play. 7:42 to go here in the second period. It's the 2025 World Junior Hockey Championship in Ottawa.
Showcase Sunday. The Kraken bring their young scorers to Motown.
That's hockey, baby!
For an afternoon puck drop with the Red Wings.
Superkin scores!
January 12th, 3 Eastern on NHL Network Showcase.
When you can't take your bed to the store,
You might be alone.
there's Instacart.
You're not alone.
This is the story of the one who doesn't just see a broken dock. He sees lost revenue, a late night, and work stalled to a halt. Thankfully, he has the experience to handle whatever comes his way and has Grainger on his side, offering access to technical product specialists and the scale to deliver fast, so he can keep his business in gear and always moving forward. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Peter Bugel has the Montreal Victoire taking on Boston Fleet at Climate Pledge Arena. Tune in Sunday at 4 Eastern, 5 Atlantic on TSN. And looking on, Steve Yzerman in the back, Dan Cleary on the left, Sean Horkoff, and former Red Wing Ken Holliner, who's now working with the National Hockey League. So a Detroit reunion there.
All the scouts and management have been going back and forth between the rinks trying to catch as much of all 4 games today as they can.
And that's been the nice part of this tournament is both rinks in the same city. Next year it'll be pretty much the same in St. Paul and Minneapolis for the 50th World Junior. Games will be played at Xcel Energy Center, the home of the Minnesota Wild, and Mariucci Arena, the home of the University of Minnesota. Price brings it back out. Price works in, roll off his stick, and it's banked back out by Petter. And Price slaps it back down to the Czech zone. Galvas up ahead for Petter at center ice. It's picked back up by Price. Puts it back down to the Czech zone. On the hunt is Nadeau. Work that free for Pinelli. Back around for Nadeau, but Galvas got in the way of that. Now Pinelli back on it to the side of the goal. Pinelli still with it. Catton on it now. Berkeley Catton. Slides back across. Catton still with it. Throws that back, but Price couldn't reach it. And the puck's back to center ice. Open with a 4-0 win over the Finns on Boxing Day. But then the shootout loss to Latvia, a 3-0 win over Germany, and then the 4-1 loss to the U.S. on New Year's Eve. Czechs home with 3 straight wins, including a 14-2 win over Kazakhstan, but lost on New Year's Eve 4-2 to the Swedes. That long shot taken by Mashtalerski is stopped by George.
And you think about the tournament, how it really just changed the complexion of it with the loss to Latvia. Because even if they'd lost the United States, a second-place finish would have been a very different proposition. Now, this game's not over, but the path would have been much nicer for them.
Canada finishing 3rd in its group for the first time since 2016 in Helsinki, when they lost in the quarterfinals that year to the Finns.
They played a pre-competition game against the Czechs. They rallied with 2 late in the 3rd to win it. They've been in here against this team already once the last couple weeks.
That point shot whistled high by Kochi. Gibson back on it. And Gibson knocked down by Mashtalerski. Here's Luchenko. Up for Gauthier. Looks ahead for Cataford. And Port back around for Kochi. Gauthier stepped into him. Cataford works it free, but the puck bounces back to Chalet. Edward Chalet. Break wide for Mashtalerski. Molendyk stays with him and breaks up that centering pass. Here is Molendyk with it. Up ahead to Gauthier with Cataford. Cataford had moved ahead. He wanted Gauthier to shoot it in. Now Gauthier does backhand it in. And McKenna comes off the bench for Canada along with Ritchie and Cowan. Dickinson knocks it down. McKenna taps that back to Bond. Lead pass for Dickinson. Chips for Cowan. Back down to the Czech zone. Ravelov to play it. Off the end boards. McKenna puts it free. In comes Ritchie after it. McKenna as well, but it's flipped ahead to Sikora. And Sikora plays for Trinets in the Czech Extra League. One of the highest scoring under 20 players in that league. Now Sikora works that free. 5 to go here in the second period. A 3-1 lead for the Czechs. Dickinson throws it ahead for Ritchie. Flips out to Cowan. That's knocked down. And brought back in by Stansel. A quick shot there for Rabbits. And a save made by George. 4:47 to go here in the second period. And the Czechs up by 2 in the quarterfinals.
Want your car's paint to look like this? Well, now it can with Cerakote's #1 selling Rapid Ceramic Paint Sealant. Seal and protect your paint with unbelievable gloss, shine, and slickness in less than 30 minutes. Simply spray it on and lightly buff it with the included microfiber towels. Look at the rich gloss with endless depth and mirror-like shine.
You can hear it. This side over here has clearly been treated, just rolls right off. This side, not so much.
This is very nice. And it took you how long to apply it? Like 10 minutes? And then it just sets? Wow, and it looks much healthier too. That's very nice.
Look at the difference with Cerakote's true hydrophobic ceramic technology. Water just blows right off. The level of gloss and slickness is unbelievable. With over 40,000 5-star reviews, Cerakote is guaranteed to be the glossiest, slickest, and easiest to apply paint sealant you have ever used. Buy any of Cerakote's ceramic products for under $20 today.
It's kind of taken for granted that Canada will be successful at the World Junior Championship. 2 gold medals the last 3 years, but in the last 12, Canada's won the gold medal 5 times. It's also finished out of the medals 5 times in that period. But in danger now of losing quarterfinal games in back-to-back years for the first time in the 30 years that the playoff format has been used. It debuted in Boston in 1996. Čichas lost the puck to Howe, trying to poke that ahead. Howe still on it. Knocks that down. Tanner Howe centers it. Just missed Martone with that pass. Here's Čichas back with it. Rink wide for Yeko. Lob wide of the goal. Price plays it back around. Now Minio leaves it there for Howe. That pass misfired, goes over the glass and out of play. The Czechs, meantime, are trying to win medals in 3 straight years since the early 1990s. They went 17 straight without a medal until they won the silver in Halifax in 2023.
They're in a great spot right now. Perfect game for them to this point. Up 3-1, nothing going on, frustrated bench, quiet building, and they are checking the life out of this game right now.
2024 was a pretty good year for the Czechs, in addition to the bronze medal at the World Junior, gold medal at the World Championship in Prague, which was an unforgettable scene. That bronze medal game was wild last year, one of the craziest games I've ever seen at the World Junior. That sharp angle shot from Kat to stop it by Rabel. The Czechs were down with under 2 minutes to go. 5-2. Scored 4 goals in 50 seconds to take the lead.
Canada could use a little burst like that right now. An explosion of offense.
3:57 to go here in the second period. Off the draw. Pinelli comes in to help. Timbergable plays it around. Racing up is Molendijk. Ashtalerski had it knocked away by Molendijk. Here's Pinelli on it. In for Kat. Kat. Pinelli plays it down to Molendijk. In the corner is Kat. Slides that back to Molendijk. Across he goes to Gibson with a shot. He rounded that wide. Kat throws it back in the corner. Gibson steps up. And now Gibson banks it back down to Pinelli. Loose behind the goal. Pinelli walks out, shoots off the outside of the post. Here's Pinelli back with it. Banks it back to Gibson. Leaves it there. Cat on the line. Keeps it alive. And Cat taking out. It's going to be a penalty to the Czechs. 3:04 to go.
You know, Canada will start asking for a 5.
And that's Chalet with the penalty.
So Catton, who has been the most dominant puck-carrying forward in this tournament, draws another one, attacking Chalet. And it's a lot like the Baudouin hit. Catton moving out of the way. And
that's what the crowd thinks. They've just seen it on the scoreboard.
Previous one, Catton did stay on the ground, or the ice.
Canada 0 for 2 on the power play. One was very brief.
So this is massive, massive opportunity if they can get one late in the second.
Jagger, Nadeau, Martone, McKenna the forwards, Molendyk on the back end. Molendyk for McKenna. Gavin McKenna slides that down to Nadeau. Trying a power play goal against the United States on New Year's Eve. Nadeau has a skip off the stick, Kenneth it back up, it goes back to Molendyk. Cross to Jagger. Jagger in for McKenna, shoots, and that's knocked away by Ravel. Nadeau back with it. To the point he goes to Molendyk. Feeds it across to Jagger. Backdoor pass. Nadeau shoots, and Ravel makes the stop, and there's no rebound with Martone standing right there.
It's a good seam pass from Jagger over to Nadeau after McKenna had tried him as well. A little bit better. Moving around. McKenna wrists one in quickly. And Nadeau, the next one. He can release this right away. He might have a chance to beat the very large Ravel on the way across.
Jagger stays out for the face-off. Scramble draw controlled by Nadeau. Banks that back to Molendyk. Tanner Molendyk. Feeds it across to Jagger. Now Jagger in, shoots, hit a leg in front, picked up by Nadeau. In comes Jagger. Drops it back. Molendyk, a hard shot, score! Tipped by Martone, a power play goal, and Canada's back within one. Porter Martone back in the lineup. Gets a huge goal for Canada.
This is why he's back in the lineup. Having a tremendous goal-scoring season. And puck retrievals, attacking the net. They get to the top of the circle, and Martone sliding with Molendyk. Jumps in the air. That's a nice tip. Skates off the ice, but stick on it to get it up and over Ravel. Look at this. Oh, that is well done. Right under the bar. No chance for the goaltender. And when they had to have one, they've got themselves back within one. And what was the objective of this period? Get one. They needed to get one, and they have.
One of 4 players in the Canadian roster too young to be drafted yet. Martone is eligible for the upcoming draft. The late birthday, born in October of '06. And Canada's 12th goal of the tournament scored by its 12th different player. Cataford. Back down to the Czech zone, and Czech coach Petr Rusta talked about them being haunted by penalties. Chalet takes one there that haunts them. Luchenko. In for Gochin, it's picked up by Yeko. And Adam Yeko feeds it down. Yeko's a St. Louis pick. St. Louis has 9 prospects playing in this World Junior, the most of any team. Price, rink wide for Cataford. Banks it back down to the Czech zone. Now the crowd back into it. Fibiger plays it around. Dickinson jumps up, keeps it alive. Dickinson down to Gauthier. Gauthier flips it back to Bonk. Now Bonk with a shot that's blocked by Yeko. He gets it back and shoots again. Knocked the stick out of Yeko's hand, or Chias's hand. Now another long shot by Bonk goes just wide. Howe holds the line, feeds that back to Dickinson. Dickinson throws it back in the corner. Jagger picks it up. Jagger drops it back to Dickinson. Walks when he shoots, and a save by Ravel. Now Dickinson back on it. In the corner is Howe. Howe slides that back, but that's too far for Bonk. Inside a minute to go now in the second period. Dickinson, lead pass, finds Ritchie. Ritchie with a puck at his feet, couldn't find it. And Huzanevsky has it back for the Czechs. Czechs scored late in the first period to make it a 2-goal lead. Now move back around, Raditz with it. Bonk takes a whack at that. Now Bonk has lost his stick. Quickly retrieves it. Here's Howe. Up ahead to Martone. And Martone chips it ahead. Martone behind the check defense, puts that down. He got taken down. Wants a penalty to be called on coaching. And now Molenbeek goes back with time winding down here in the period. Back across to Gibson. Gibson, lead pass to McKenna. In comes Gavin McKenna. Throws it back in front. Chance for Cowan. Rebound put wide by Ritchie. What a chance there. Seconds remaining. Gibson walks in and shoots. It's blocked in front. Furious pressure by the Canadians. Ravel's goal stick was in the corner. But Canada gets one late and almost tied it up here.
Even later, right on the wheel. I think Easton Cowan didn't think the puck would get to him. And then Ritchie can't square up. The rebound now is after they got within one on the power play goal. Martone, the flyby tip gets Canada within one in life as my man's dad Mike are pumped. As Canada's got their second of the game, back within one.
3-2, the Czechs lead after 40 minutes of play. Coming up, it's our second intermission from the 49th World Junior Hockey Championship.
The Panthers, Friday, 7 Eastern on NHL Network.
ETV. Second period summary, the lone goal scored by Porter Martone, the 12th different Canadian to score in this tournament on the power play. The shots were 9-6 Canada in that second period. They had 2 in the first 8 minutes of the middle period. Miller back with Mike Johnson. One of the issues, the Czechs have blocked shots. 19 of them so far through the first 40 minutes.
And you'll probably see a lot more of that in the third period as Canada tries to push to get a tie. Czechia, full credit. They've done a really good job of playing defensively, staying in lanes, staying with their checks, activating their sticks, and really turning aside potential opportunities to shoot, rebounds, traffic, some of the things that Canada's trying to get to. They're not being able to get to the net because of all the shot blocks. So Canada is going to have to continue to move laterally, look for lanes, look for tips, because they saw when they finally do get to the net, good things happen. The one goal they scored in the second period comes off a point shot that wasn't blocked, that had the opportunity to be tipped.
Teams start the third period 5-on-5. The winner advancing to the semifinals on Saturday, along with the Swedes, the United States, and the Finns. It's been a white-knuckle ride the whole way. Why should this one be any different? Czech plays out ahead, knocked down by McKenna. Away comes Gavin McKenna, fires that down to the Czech zone. Ravel has to play it, high off the glass. Cowan looks down for McKenna, trying to pick that free. And Jiricek from Masterworski, that's picked off by Cowan. Cowan with a puck at his feet, feeds it back across to Ritchie. McKenna walks in, holds and shoots, that rolls wide. Masterworski back with it. Pivots back in the corner, turns it over again. McKenna feeds it back to Gibson. Walks in and shoots. Double save, rebound. And Ritchie just missed at the side of the goal. Cowan comes in. Plows through Masterworski. Now loose along the boards. Ritchie trying to work it free. It's back at center ice for Molenbeek. In the first minute seems Canada come out flying. Back up to Dvorak. Up over the puck by Jagger. He's got 2 assists in this game. Howe taken down. Counter Howe back on it. Slides that back to Jagger. Trying to thread it back in front. It's picked off and brought back by Sikora. Sikora. Or Stancil who plays it in. Minio. Bangs it back. Picked up by Price. He finds Braden Jagger. For Porter Martone, who has Canada's second goal. Backhands it back down to the Czech zone. Rubble leaves it there. Galvis. Threaded ahead by Raditz. Finds Stancil. Stancil. Backdoor pass, and Jagger came back and took that away. Sikora trying to find Raditz. Raditz with that pass. Knocked back in by Raditz. Jagger able to knock it down. Wins that battle for the puck. And leaves it there for Pinelli. Chip back down in the Canadian zone, and Price is back for it. Caden Price, lead pass from Martone. And back is Galvis to pick it up. Banks that back for Jakob Fibberger. Fibberger, pass picked up at center ice by Bond. Up ahead for Catton. In comes Berkeley. Catton throws it back in front. That pass was broken up by Yeko. And now Bont moves up, keeps it alive for Pinelli. Banks in the corner for Catton. He's got some room. Shoots. Rebel makes the save. Pinelli looking for a rebound, but the Czech netminder has it.
Good start for Canada right at the beginning of the third period, down in the offensive zone, capitalizing on a turnover. McKenna has a look, fires it just wide. And Ritchie grabs a loose puck on a point shot rebound, just skips over his stick. But you like the energy in the building. If you can be involved physically, he has a clean way. Cowan does just that as well. And one more look for Catton. At some point, Berkeley Catton's got to find the back of the net with all these shots he's throwing towards it.
Canada has the last 9 shots in the game going back to the second period. Ritchie wins the face-off back to Cowan, but Koss picks it up, looks in for Zidlichki. That's broken up, and McKenna feeds it back in. Now the puck loose inside the goal as Rabo couldn't reach it for a moment. Dvorak lifts it back down to the Canadian zone. Back goes Price. Icing called against Czechia. The face-off back down to the Czech zone with tired players on the ice.
And Dave Cameron coaching some offense right now. One, he's got McKenna with Cowan and Ritchie full-time. 2, offensive zone face-off prior to this one. They put them on the ice out of sequence to get them in the offensive zone. These guys need that kind of ice time, kind of situations to try to promote the goal they are desperate to get.
Ritchie for the face-off against Dominic Petter. Cowan taps that back, but it's past Price and out. And Price to Cowan. Easton Cowan of the London Knights. Into Strathroy, Ontario, spins back. Back across to Bo Aki. Aki gains center ice and fires that back down to the Czech zone. McKenna's the first man there. Gavin McKenna. Bumped on the puck by Dvorak. Now Ritchie comes in. Cal Ritchie. Pivots back. Ritchie has a look. Slides it down to McKenna. And McKenna. His man fell. Feeds it back. Ritchie a shot. Pad save. Rebound. And McKenna turned away by the Czech netminder.
So the key for this line is to get the puck off the wall and then into the hands of McKenna. Ritchie does the hard work. Stop, start. Then get it to number 9 and then watch him go to work. Spins, loses his man, spots Ritchie right away, works for the rebound. Good things happen when McKenna can get the puck on his stick in space. You got to work to get it to him, but once you do, you're in good shape.
And now Jagger back out with Howe, or Martone rather, and Howe. Jagger wins that faceoff cleanly back to Gibson, but he can't hold the line. Gibson back across to Molendyke. Lead for Martone, who chips it down in the Czech zone. Howe trying to hunt it down. Gibson steps up. Jagger plays it back across, and it's moved ahead. Knocked down by Mastolerski with a high stick. And so play called. And the faceoff will be in the Canadian zone.
Czechia just trying to catch their breath. They know a push is coming. They knew it was going to start. Really the ability to defend, and we say it all the time when you're trying to finish off a game. Make plays to get the puck out of your own end. Pass the puck out of your own end, not just shoot it away and try to defend for 20 full minutes. They want the face-off to be outside because the puck was touched initially from a high stick in the neutral zone.
Right, that's what the Canes are arguing. The play ended in the Canadian zone, I guess, so what they'll say. Gauthier swings back around with it. Ethan Gauthier, his dad a gold medalist in 1996 at the World Juniors. Gauthier works in, drops that back, couldn't find Luchenko with that. Now Jet Luchenko pivots back. Luchenko looks back for Gibson. That's knocked away by Chalet, the Czech captain. And Molendyke back with it. Around for Gibson. first met when they were 10 years old playing the brick tournament in Edmonton, the under-10 tournament. Played for different teams and wound up switching jerseys after the tournament. That's the first time they met. Now the defense partners here, they're both national prospects. Now batted down at center ice, or in the slot rather. And Raditz plays it back around. Minio holds the line and shoots, and Rabo kicks that away. Canada forward back after it. Puck bounces along the boards. And held by Catton, throws that back in the corner. Canada needs a change as Galvas picks it back up. Thomas Galvas. Shut there by Catton. Now Galvas brings it out. Up ahead for Feltzman. And Pinelli chips it back down to the Czech zone. Nadeau comes in along with Catton trying to work that free. Juracek couldn't reach it. Bonk plays it back in the corner for Nadeau. Nadeau for Pinelli with a shot. He rumbled that wide. And it's back down to the Canadian zone as Dickinson ranges back. Sam Dickinson to Oliver Bonk. Rink wide pass for Nadeau, kicking that ahead. In comes Nadeau with it. Grabs Nadeau trying to get a stick on it. And Feltzman knocked that away. Pinelli to Nadeau. In comes Pinelli with it. Pinelli centers it. Bounces back to Bonk. Feeds that back to Dickinson. A shot. It got through. And Rabo made the save. Feltzman back with it. Right along with Chihas. And Chihas busts in. That pass broken up by Bonk. He finds McKenna. He's got Ritchie with him. In comes Gavin McKenna. Winds back, drops it back for Pinelli with a shot. Rabo makes the stop and is able to hang on.
That's a good quick counter. Pinelli with a couple of different opportunities. McKenna on a turnover, that's where you want it to go. Gets his head up, and he's looking for drawing in coverage, get it back to a shooter. Pinelli is just that, and a good squeeze by Rabo. Awkward spot up under his blocker. Pinelli was sniffing a rebound, but none available. Probably a little bit more upset about the one-timer he missed earlier in the shift as well, which was a good look.
Last 10.5 minutes, Canada out shooting the Czechs 14-0. Pressing for the equalizer. Ritchie wins a face-off back to Sawyer Minio. Minio, long wrist shot, goes off a stick, up and out of play.
Another shot block for Czechia. Minio trying to go laterally. It's an art form. And think of Cale Makar, the top offensive defenseman.
Right.
To get a wrister through to the net, it's not easy to do.
Ritchie wins it back to Cowan. Cowan drops it back to Ritchie. Rolls out wide. Porth. Out to center ice. Knocked down by Minio. Rossi goes to Akey to head to Ritchie. Cal Ritchie. Drops it off to McKenna. McKenna feeds that back to Minio. To Akey. Akey looks to feed that back. It's shipped ahead by Finnegar. And a race for it now. George comes way out the plate. Very high off the glass. Batted ahead by Ritchie. He finds Cowan. Drops it back to McKenna. He can't get a shot away. And now Akey back with it. Lead pass to Cowan. He finds McKenna. McKenna in, shoots, just missed wide. And chipped back to center ice. Scoring chances piling up for the Canadians as Gibson fires it down. Jagger goes after it. Chips at that. And move back down the game zone. Mashtalerski gets there first. Mashtalerski has a look back. Centers it. And George knocked that away. The puck skipped for a moment. Howe's got it back. Canada breaks out 4 wide. Away comes Jagger. Gibson jumping in. Jagger back in front of Howe left. Trying to feed that back. And it's blocked by Galvas. Now a lead pass for Shelley. Shelley on a partial break. Molenbeek ranges back. Shelley off the puck. Howe trying to work that free. And comes back to Jagger. Jagger up ahead for Martone. And Juracek finds Feltzman. Up for Zidlichki, that goes off his stick. And Gibson back to pick it up. Up to center ice, he finds Martone. For Howe to Bonk. In comes Bonk with a shot. And Rabo makes the save. Now the Czechs break back the other way. Koss for Feltzman. Rolling puck, poked at by Dickinson. Zidlichki gets there. And Zidlichki slides it back into Koss. Goss for Feltzman. Feltzman flips it back to Zidlichki. Zidlichki had to roll off his stick. Pinelli reaching for it. Now Goss lost the puck to Bonk behind the goal. Up for Martone. And Martone off the glass trying to find Pinelli. Icing waved off as Pinelli hustles in. Pinelli gets there first with a rolling puck. Pinelli as Canada's changing, buys some time. Pinelli feeds it back across for Price. Price sends it back in front. And Catton just missed the tip. Zidlichki back the other way. Bumped up a puck by Pinelli. Furious pressure now by the Canadians. Nadeau winds in. Bradley Nadeau chops it back to the point to Price. Caden Price, a long shot. That deflected wide. Rubble might have got a piece of the way by. Now a lead pass for Sikora. Out to center ice. Fired back in by Huzanetsky. And George leaves it there for Minio. Long time between whistles here. In the third period, Canada down one. Price across to Minio. Lead pass to Cataford. Cataford trying to find Luchenko. Moved ahead to Stancha. And Luchenko plays it back down to the Czech zone. Huzanetsky bumped there by Gauthier.
Like just clip with a high stick coming down the boards. He's checking to see if he's got damage in his face.
Gibson to Luchenko. Streaking it across the line, Luchenko with it. Chet Luchenko kicks at it. That's knocked away by Jiricek. And Jiricek banks out ahead for Chalet. Out to center ice, that's gloved down by Gibson. Pokes it ahead for Gauthier, just out of his reach. Now Gauthier pokes it in. He's got Cataford with him. Gauthier works it back and forth for Cataford. They score, but the referee waves it off. The puck is in the net, but the referee right away waved it off. Sean McFarland, the referee, right away said no goal. Rabel is down, and a close call for Canada as Cataford came that close.
This telecast of the IIHF World Junior Championship is presented by Sense Arena. Own the ice in virtual reality with NHL Sense Arena 25.
Experience a new reality of off-ice hockey with NHL Sense Arena 25. Available on MetaQuest. Transform any space into your own virtual rink where you can practice anytime, anywhere. With modes for goalies and players, get unlimited access to hundreds of drills, training plans, and more. Get more ice time at home with a hockey training aid that fits into any space and any schedule. Train smarter, play faster. NHL Sense Arena.
Showcase Sunday. The Kraken bring their young scorers to Motown.
That's hockey, baby!
For an afternoon puck drop with the Red Wings.
The Brickett scores!
January 12th, 3 Eastern on NHL Network Showcase.
Nobody covers the game like us. This is NHL Network.
The officials talked it over. And here's referee Sean McFarland. McFarland's trying to talk here, but
wild scene in the net. Cataford goes into Rabel hard. Now,
call on the ice is no goal for goaltender interference.
And they're pretty definitive about it. And there's no doubt the only case Canada would have here would be that Cataford was pushed in to Rabel. The reason why he ran into the goalie is because Stanchel behind him shoved him. Or Chalet shoved him from behind. You could make a case that that was.
Now, would Cameron challenge this?
One more word to be had here.
Canada is challenging previous play for goaltender interference.
Here we go.
So a gutsy call here.
So the argument for Canada would be, first off, there's no doubt the goalie Rabel was bumped. Why did Cataford get into Rabel? Canada's saying that Chalet pushed Rabel or Cataford from behind. Clearly Cataford would not have hit the goaltender if he wasn't helped. He's not going to just charge into the goaltender. He's driving the net, trying to stop, and Chalet shoves him into the goalie.
So the net frame, the intent of the net frame is.
That's the so the first part of the equation is, did he go in the net by himself? If that's the case, doesn't matter, no goal. If you determine he was shoved in there with the assistance of Chalet or because of Chalet. Then the next part is this a good goal? Look at the pegs, the yellow parts. Is the integrity of the net still all the way across the goal line? It's almost simultaneous. The right post is coming out of its mooring. But again, if that puck would have gone in, the integrity of the net's okay. And it was Chalet who forced the contact, then this could be a good goal.
And McFarland made the call definitively, and now we've got the call from the replay.
That didn't take long enough to be a goal.
On the ice is confirmed. No goal for goaltender interference. Team Canada, as it says, the bench minor penalty for delay of game.
And so now Canada will be short-handed with 10:21 to go in the third.
When it's that quick, the call on the ice is being confirmed.
And so now the Czechs, who have not had a shot in the last 14.5 minutes of the game, will get a power play where they're 1 for 3.
Does that say something about Dave Cameron's confidence that Canada can score a goal? Because it's been so hard. You're going to roll the dice on a maybe challenge as opposed to giving yourself 2 more minutes on the clock at even strength.
Jagger for the face-off against Raditz. Jagger wins it. Sam Dickinson rattles that around the line. Chalet kept it alive, and he's got Tanner Howe all over him. Howe had a shorthanded goal earlier in the game. As Canada was killing a 5-minute major to Cole Baudouin in the first period. But frozen along the boards. Jagger pulls that free. Dickinson can't get to it. Galva steps up. Gibson launched into him. Mashtalerski. Back to Holinka. Holinka sets it up, feeds it rink wide. Chalet shoots. It's off the stick of Dickinson and wide. Holinka. Back for Chalet. Chalet feeds that down. Dickinson got a stick on that. Now fed back, picked up by Jagger. He will slide that down to the Czech zone. As Canada gets fresh penalty killers on the ice, and the Czechs will change as well. Past the midway point of the third period. In comes Sikora. Goes that towards the goal. Carter George kicks that away easily. Now fed back down the ice by Bonk. 45 seconds to go in the Czech power play. Jiricek drops it back to Sikora. Yeko for Feltzman. Feltzman tied up there by Ritchie. Sikora works it back at the line for Jiricek, feeds it across. Yeko being watched there by Bonk. Now Yeko works down in the corner. 20 seconds to go on the power play. Bonk to the line but not out. Jiricek, a long shot. George the save through the traffic. Bonk back on it. Ritchie reaching forward as well. Time winding down in this Czech power play. Now a chance and a hand pass called against the Czechs, and the faceoff will come outside.
It is nail-biting time. That is Carter George's sister, Michaela, can hardly watch her brothers trying to get through a very important penalty kill for Canada.
4 seconds left. The faceoff comes outside.
So they've done the job of the penalty kill. Got to get right back to the attack.
One shot for the Czechs on the power play. Their only shot in the last 15 minutes of the game. Thiebig around to Port. And the teams are back to even strength. Catton trying to take that free. Berkeley Catton looks back to Price. He's tied up by Chalet. And now McKenna tries the other side to Cowan. Easton Cowan flips it back down to the Czech zone. Here comes McKenna hunting after it. Laid back around. Minio can't reach it. And it rolls back down to the Canadian zone. Inside 8 to go in the third. In comes McKenna. Slides that down. And centers it. Now Cowan after it. Poked at by Gibson. Dvorak has a quick look as Catton tries to work that free. Cowan comes in to help out as well. And Juracek moves it ahead, finds Sikora busting in. Sikora trying to split the D. And they're going to call it a penalty.
A dive. He's getting a dive.
They're both going to get it. Sikora for the dive. .7:23 to go. They're calling him against both.
At Grainger, we know dealing with the unexpected is part of your job description. And you made a promise to keep the line running, to power through the downpour, to be the one who always gets it done. And our promise is to help you do it with professional-grade supplies for every industry, plus same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. Because you can't predict the future, but with the right partner, you can be prepared for it. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
It's win or go home as the field narrows.
This has been must-see TV.
At the 2025 World Juniors, only 4 will remain as we move into the semifinals. Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on NHL Network.
5-on-5 play will continue as it was a trip and a dive called. Sikora slashing. Sikora breaking. And Gibson on the right side. A little tap into the thighs. Sikora goes down. Now you're allowed to call embellishment without a penalty.
Right.
And that's what Canada was hoping for. And if you don't... That precedent's been established with the cat and dive embellishment earlier. Similar quality call.
So it remains 5-on-5 here. Bed back down in the Canadian zone. Here is Bong. Up for Dickinson. That pass chipped in by Howe. Martone looks for it. Porter Martone after it. Now Chalet. Looks across to Mashtalerski. Chips it by Dickinson as the Czechs make a change, and Bonk goes back. Chipped in by Martone, but that was blocked by Dvorak. And now Dickinson winds in. Fires that down to the Czech zone. Martone after it. Porter Martone wins that battle for the puck. Dvorak. Up for Yeko. That's knocked down at the line by Molendyk. Molendyk shoots. That was blocked by Juracek. Raditz. Off the glass and back down to the Canadian zone. McKenna back defending. As Stancil moved in on him, he played it back for Akey. Akey being harassed by Stancil, drops it back to Molendyk. Tanner Molendyk. Up ahead for Cal Ritchie winding in. Ritchie had a poke checked away by Zidlichki. And now Wojtek Port winds in. He shoots and deflects wide. Zidlichki. Plays it across to Andre Koss. And Koss fans on that pass. Here's a chance for McKenna. Sends it ahead. Easton Cowan busts again. Cowan shoots. And Fibberger going to stick on him. It's knocked wide. Zidlichki has that pass broken up by Cowan as Price goes back. Caden Price back around for Minio. To Cowan. Easton Cowan. The puck bounced in behind him. Feltzman plays it ahead for Zidlichki. And McKenna swings back to pick it up. Canada changing as McKenna moves it across the Czech line. Here comes McKenna after it. Gavin McKenna takes a big hit in the corner. And McKenna's down. Brought out by Holenka. Gavin McKenna's injured. Break wide pass. That long shot's offside. Kuznetsky and McKenna is slow to get to his feet as he goes back to the Canadian bench. Infuriated Canadian fans here. It's still 3-2 Czechia with 5:09 to go. Cowan, the latest good chance for Canada.
Back
back pain. When you've got it, you know it. Introducing the X-Back from CopperFit, our groundbreaking technology designed for compression support of your lower back and core like you've never experienced before. Engineered with our most innovative, patent-pending, Advanced X compression system. Evenly distributes the support across a broader surface area of your back for relief of lower back aches and pains. A super lightweight mesh fabric, ventilated to increase airflow and release excess heat. An orthopedic designed alloy support panel and 4 built-in flexible stabilizers to help improve alignment and promote better posture. The all-new X-Back from CopperFit, the most customizable support for relief of lower back pain you will ever wear. Guaranteed or your money back. Get yours now at getxback.com or call 1-800-497-6490. Order right now and your shipping is free. CopperFit. Feel the difference.
Canada pressing to try to find the tying goal, and Easton Cowan jumps on a turnover, blows his own. Filberger does a tremendous job bothering him enough, but not taking a penalty. And then here's the McKenna. He sort of loses his balance, but this forearm goes right in the back of his head, which is already low. No call by the officials. Looks like McKenna's going to be okay, though, to continue playing.
5 to go in the third period. Molenbeek sends out ahead. It's knocked down at center ice by Raditz. Now Catton back the other way. Berkeley Catton races to it. Catton spins back in the corner. Center, but Stancil knocks that away for Sikora. Sikora slings it back down the Canadian zone as Galvez plays it back in. Molenbeek. Tied up by Stancil. Now scooped up by Nadeau. Nadeau lifts out ahead. Finds Catton. Berkeley Catton. Back across for Nadeau, winding in. Pinelli centers it. Goes back to the point. Stickets it in. Shoots. That was blocked by Stancil. Now Pinelli a chance. Rebound. Look at they score! Luca Pinelli tying goal. The Ottawa 67. We'll see who had the last touch. It might have been Nadeau. Regardless, it's a 3-3 tie.
Sequence, Nadeau starts dragging it through. Eventually it gets back to the point, and first shot blocked. Dickinson gets it to Pinelli, wires it in. There are 2 Canadian forwards inside position, both Nadeau and Catton. Anyone want to get a piece, and as Ravel's trying to get it with a stick, Nadeau pokes it 5-hole. And pressing. Canada finally gets a break, grabs a rebound, and is finally able to tie the game. Bench going crazy. Still 4:18 on the clock with Canada pushing tie game.
So it's Nadeau in his second. The first Canadian scored twice in the tournament on the shot by Pinelli. There's Howe with it. Looks ahead for Jagger. Jagger winds it with Martone. Jagger spins it back. Took it to the hard shot. Pat saved by Rattle. Blocked with a shot that goes just wide. Held by Jagger. Jagger. Long shot trying to find the stick of Howe. Now that shot by Bonk broke his stick. Martone back with it. Chance for Jagger. Back in. Shot that stopped. Now picked up by Jagger. Feeds that back to Martone. Gibson kicks it ahead. Walking his Molenbeek's shot. Rebound loose in front. It's under the Czech defender Port and picked out. Gibson back for Molenbeek's shot. That was blocked. Molenbeek back with it. Got across to Jagger. He walks in, shoots. Save made by a Rebel and finally cleared up as Holinka had no stick. And now Molenbeek fires it back down. Crowd roaring now. Ritchie with it. Ritchie feeds it back to Cowan. And now Cowan pokes at it. Picked up by McKenna. Canada changing D. Here's Ritchie with it. Ritchie buys some time. Feeds it down to McKenna. McKenna works it back in front. That bounced away. And it's chopped out by Zidlichki. And now McKenna. That's knocked away and fed up to Klaus. with 2:27 to go in the third period.
It's going to be Gibson. And the ref's going to get together and talk about this one. Sort of similar to Baudouin's. Gibson stepping up. It might be a trip on Koss.
Now, were they looking at potentially calling a 5 here?
It's the same thing. His left leg's right in the middle of the body. That was more of a knee than Baudouin's.
Referees are Riku Brander of Finland, Sean McFarland of the United States. And this game hinging on what they decide, potentially. Here's the call from Brander.
Plays under review.
So they're looking at this to see if it's a 5-minute major.
Given the precedent they established with Baudouin, this is more of a knee than Baudouin's. That's the troubling part for Canada right now.
They've already called it once.
I mean, there's so much noise. Gibson trying to make a good hit. It's a tough hit to make in that moment. Cross head up, he's gonna go around you. It's more of a trip than a knee, but I didn't think the last one was gonna be a 5, and it was. Left leg stays pretty straight, but that is very similar, except no upper body contact, which Baudouin had.
Is Mom Diana watching or not?
This building was just percolating.
All right, they've made their decision. And here comes the call from Brander.
Team Canada, number 2, 2 minutes kneeing.
So it's 2, not 5. But the Czechs will go to the power play for the 5th time. 1 for 4. They scored late in the quarters last year. 11 seconds to go to knock Canada out. Now in a 3-3 game, they're on the power play. Shots are 19-2 Canada since the middle of the second period. Jagger for the faceoff. He wins it. Back goes Dickinson for it. Sam Dickinson slides that back down. Robbo kicks that away. Howe after it. Tanner Howe, who scored shorthanded in the first period, kicks that free. Howe trying to freeze it along the boards. It's picked up by Raditz. Looks ahead to Mashtalerski. Mashtalerski across the line. In on Bonk, and Gibson, of course, a key penalty killer for Canada. Now center. There's Chalet with it. Back for Galvis. Inside 2 to go in the third period. Polenka feeds it back to Galvis. Galvis pivots back. Slides it across to Chalet with a shot. Pad save by George. The rebound almost squirted in. And Bonk sends it down the ice. Galvis back with it. Czechs are changing. Slides that back to Yeko. Rink wide to Feltzman. Molendijk. Back around to Price. That was knocked down. And now sent down on the second try by Price. If it's tied after regulation, it's a 10-minute overtime. And then if necessary, a shootout. Sikora slides it back down. Molendijk bats at it. And now Molendijk trying to work it free. Luchenko in there as well. 30 seconds to go on the power play. Inside a minute to go in the third period. Molendijk bats at it. Now Sikora feeds it back. A long shot by Juracek is kicked out by George. Sikora back in the corner. Sikora back to Juracek. A shot that was blocked. Juracek feeds it back across. Yeko scores! Adam Yeko, power play goal, and the Czechs lead with 39 seconds to go. The 5th time shorthanded cost the Canadians.
and then everything breaks down. Really nice pass to Yeko, who gets all of this shot short side. Not a lot to shoot at there, but beats Carter George clean.
So the Czechs score in the first minute of the game, and now in the last minute of the third. And Canada's got 39 seconds to try to find an answer here, or they'll bow out in the quarterfinals for the second straight year for the first time in their history at the World Junior. Face-off control by the Czechs, and Dvorak sends that down. George, and then picked off. Ashtalerski.
Gotta go, gotta press him, gotta go.
Back at the point, laid back in by Huzanetsky. Canada get possession of the puck here. McKenna steamrolls his man. Still loose down there. Fed back in front. Shelley with a chance. Gibson tries to drop it down and does. Long lead pass to Ritchie. In across the line for Cowan. The play's offside. 7.8 seconds to go in the period. And the face-off will come to neutral ice.
Good job by the Czech forwards. Eating up 30 seconds of the remaining 39. And the bench, knowing what's at stake, taking advantage. They just...
And now they're going to take this down to the Canadian zone for the face-off, because that's where the pass originated. So George has to go back in the net. One back by Ritchie. Here's Dickinson with it. Just seconds left. Lead pass for Catton. That misfired. And for the second straight year, the Czechs and Canada's hopes at the World Junior Championship. A 4-3 win sends them to the semifinals. And Canada bows out of the quarters for the second straight year. The second straight year is the winning goaltender against Canada.
Another year with a very late goal by Czechia.
It was 11 seconds to go last year. And for Braden Yager and the four returnees from last year, the same result.
Czech rope-a-dope their way through the middle part of the game.
They've won 3 of their last 4 against Canada at the World Junior Championship. So we will now get the player of the game presentations and the top 3 players of the tournament for Canada, whose tournament is over.
ČECHIA 5 for a total of 25.
Final shots were 32-26 in favor of Canada. And the Canadians taking out their frustration, the Canadian fans rather, on the officials.
Please direct your attention to the T-zone carpet for the player of the game presentation. The player of the game from each team will be awarded a one-of-a-kind panel and painted by a local indigenous artist. A special thank you to Imperial and Esso for their contribution that allows us to compensate the artist. Today's awards were painted by the Three Sisters Artist Collective from Kitigan-Zibi, Anishinaabe First Nation.
So the Czechs will once again play for a medal
Ottawa's
at the World Junior Championship. They haven't won 3 in a row since the early 90s.
Animals symbolizing unity and cooperation, embodying the spirit of teamwork and collective success. Please welcome to the ice from Imperial and its Esso brand, Ryan Levins, Senior Regulatory Affairs Advisor, accompanied by Michael Levins, recipient of the Most Improved Esso Medal in 2016, and Riley Koger, recipient of the Most Dedicated Esso Medal in 2023, to help present the Player of the Game Awards. The best player for Team Canada is number 23, numéro 23, Tanner Howe.
Scored the short-handed goal in the first period.
The best player for Team Czechia is number 10, numéro 10, Adam Yeho.
Yeho scored the late power play goal for the Czechs. Plays for the Edmonton Oil Kings in the Western Hockey League. And now the top 3 players of the tournament for Canada way sooner than they would have liked. 9 Canadians, by the way, eligible to return next year. And there's a whole bunch of guys who weren't picked that are eligible to come next year as well.
The 3 best players of the 2025 IIHF World Junior Championship of Team Canada will now be awarded with a watch from TISO, the official timekeeper of the International Ice Hockey Federation. The 3 best player awards are selected by each team and will be presented by Rick Ostra, Managing Director of TISO Canada. The 3 best players for Team Canada are number 6, numéro 6, Tanner Molendyk.